If thoughts can do this to physical reality, imagine how beneficial blessing your food could be. I remember I had read that once in a Christian Orthodox book to make the sign of the cross over what we drink, what we eat. And I was making the sign of the cross over my Turkish coffee, which has foam on top. And even though I made the sign of the cross over my cup in the air, it's as if a knife had cut the foam in the shape of a cross. And that's when I realized that, yes, that happens. But this is what scientists have found, though. A few months ago, the writer says I picked up a new habit and started sending a blessing to my food each meal before eating it. This is a common custom to pray or say grace before a meal in many religions. Although I'm not religious, the writer said, I have adapted this practice for my own reasons, which I'll explain in depth throughout this article. Now, a little while back, I did post a video on scientists that found that if you make the sign of the cross over your food and drink, the scientists found that the amount of bacteria that is found in it is reduced by the one time you make the sign of the cross by 85%. But here he says, the writer says, there are many reasons to bless your food aside from religious ones, but considering this has been practiced throughout various cultures of the world for thousands of years, religion aside, there just might be something to this. Saying grace is essentially just taking a moment to show gratitude and appreciation to the fact that there is even food on the table or in your hands that you are about to eat, rather than what is typically done in North America, at least, where food is quickly shoveled into one's face. So if you're religious, you are generally thanking your God for this abundance. If you're not, like me, you might be saying thank you to the universe, to the Creator, the writer said, whatever you choose to call it, if nothing more. Blessing your food gives you the chance to appreciate what's in front of you and gives you a moment out of your day to show gratitude for what you have. But it's actually so much more than that. Everything is energy. But now science has gotten a pretty firm grasp of the fact that everything is actually energy. What were once thought of as balls of mass, atoms, are now understood to be composed of mostly just empty space, and really these balls of matter are actually energy in ecstatic motion. It's energy in motion, so by being aware of this, it makes it easy to understand how we're actually affecting the reality around us with our thoughts and intentions at all times. A great example of this work is from Dr. Masaru Emoto, who published his best-selling book, The Secret Life of Water, before he passed. Throughout his research, Dr. Emoto was able to prove just how much of our consciousness affects the reality around us by observing water molecules when giving loving messages and intentions such as thank you, I love you, and then the contrary, I hate you, I wish you would, something bad, then that were then frozen. He was able to prove how much the intention was actually affecting each water molecule in a physical manner. The water droplets given a message of love or gratitude had complex and beautiful patterns, while the ones given a message coming from fear or hate had no symmetry and their design looked more sporadic. The results of this work merely scratched the surface of how powerful our thoughts, intentions, or words really are, and how our consciousness actually impacts the world around us. Dean Radin, the chief scientist in the Institute of Noetic Sciences, along with Masaru Emoto, Takashige Kizu, and Nancy Lund, designed an experiment that tested this hypothesis. And as the study description reads, over 3 days, 1,900 people in Australia and Germany focused their attention towards water samples located inside an electromagnetically shielded room in California. Water samples located near the target water, but unknown to the people providing intentions, acted as proximal controls. Other samples located outside the shielded room acted as distant controls. Ice drops formed from samples of water in the different treatment conditions were photographed by a technician. Each image was assessed for aesthetic beauty by over 2,500 independent judges, and the resulting data were analyzed, all by individuals blind with respect to the underlying treatment conditions. Results suggested that crystal images in the intentional treated condition were rated as aesthetically more beautiful than proximal control conditions. This outcome replicates the results of an earlier pilot test. The work of Dr. Emoto was featured in a documentary, What the Bleep Do We Know, that delves into this topic even further from a quantum physics level. This film was a key component to my awakening journey and provided me such much insight into how powerful our minds really are. I highly recommend this film. Emoto's work is not without criticism, but there are hundreds of published peer-reviewed publications showing statistically significant results for this type of science, yet unfortunately it's still shunned by mainstream academia, even though so many mainstream academic scientists support it. What is going on here? The idea that the mind affects physical material reality is not trivial, and it's been demonstrated repeatedly with statistically significant results through fascinating research undertaken by government programs. Places like the Institute of Noetic Sciences, founded by Dr. Edgar Mitchell, and in more recent developments, the group of internationally recognized scientists mentioned above. And you can find many studies in this area by checking out the IONS website, IONS, and a selected list of peer-reviewed journals, also articles about psychic phenomena, most published in the 21st century. It's also important to mention that a group of international recognized scientists have come together to stress the importance of what is still commonly overlooked in the mainstream scientific community. The fact that matter, protons, electrons, photons, anything that has mass, is not the only reality. We wish to understand the nature of our reality, but how can we do so if we continue to examine only physical systems? What about the role of non-physical systems such as consciousness, or their interaction with physical systems and matter? The true power of gratitude, if you're someone who takes time out of your day to express gratitude for what you do have instead of worrying, stressing, or living in fear of what you don't have, then you may already be aware of how powerful this practice is. I find that sometimes it can easily slip my mind that I will go several days without this practice. And this is where the art of blessing your food comes in handy. When I say my little prayer before I eat, I am not just expressing gratitude for the food, but also taking a moment to express gratitude for anything else I'm grateful for in that moment. Because I generally eat at least 3 times a day, that provides me with many opportunities to feel and express this emotion. Really, I have a lot to be grateful for aside from just being able to feed myself. What should you say? Really, you can say whatever you want. I kind of switch mine up sometimes, but in general, it goes a little something like this. Thank you for the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. Thank you for this food that will nourish and heal my body and provide me with the energy that I need to sustain myself today. Thank you for the sunshine, for this breath of life. Thank you for my friendships, and thank you for this beautiful day and a chance to be here now. Who am I saying this to? The universe, the divine God, source, all that is, my higher self, my soul family, my guides, my Mother Earth, all of the above. And you can say this little prayer to whoever you want, technically. It doesn't have to be to anyone or anything specifically. Your words are out there directly at your food may hold the capacity to change the vibration of what you are eating, making it more nourishing for your body. I like to hold my hands on either side of my meal as if to send the blessing directly to the food. It's the intention behind your words that matter. And yes, sometimes I get some funny looks or catch some friends off guard when eating out, but I have found this practice to be beneficial enough to simply not care. Since I started this, I have found that I don't suffer from bloating, indigestion, or discomfort nearly as much as my skin has cleared up, even if this is simply placebo. Well, then I'm fine with that because it means my mind is accepting the changes and making them so. And where's the proof? Well, this is not really something that can be proven that easily, but given the example experiments from the work of Dr. Emoto mentioned above, we can see how our thoughts and intentions can actually change the structure of physical things. If our thoughts and intentions can do that to water, what can they do to our food, which is often contains a high volume of water? Taking this further, you may want to question what these thoughts and intentions could do for you as well. And this is from Soul Ask, Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.